Let's head over to our XLOOKUP worksheet tab. Now, XLOOKUP is a really nice function. Basically, it allows us to do several things. One of the things it allows us to do is to return a value from a database or return different parts of a record from a database. Let's see how this works. We're basically inputting ID number. Now after we put that, Excel is going to head on over to the employee ID. It's going to find that ID number. Once it finds that ID number in that column, we can return the last name, first name, department, and the hire date. And they will all be displayed in our table here. So this way, if someone asks you what is the hire date for that employee with that number 1054, we don't even have to see this database and we don't have to come and scroll through it to look for that ID. We simply just need to set up our XLOOKUP and that does the work for us. If I change this to 1368, we can see that's the record for Tammy, and as expected, it's returning the last name, first name, department, and the hire date as well. This is a really nice way as well to just automatically populate maybe a form using XLOOKUP. So based on the value that you put in one cell, it's going to return the corresponding field for you here as well. So that's basically how XLOOKUP works. If you have used other functions like index and match or VLOOKUP, you know that they have same features with XLOOKUP. So let's go ahead and enter our XLOOKUP. I'll go ahead and delete my formulas in here. Let's go ahead and enter our XLOOKUP. Let's return the last name first. So if I click on cell B4, here's my insert function. I'll go and look for XLOOKUP, press go. Here is XLOOKUP. We'll go ahead and press OK. So now with XLOOKUP again, the function will do the work for us. We just need to point to the different places. So it's asking for the lookup value. It's going to be whatever is currently in cell A4. The next thing is asking us for the lookup array, basically where we can find those ID numbers. So it's going to be column G, starting with G10 down to row 46. The next, it's asking what is the return array. Well, the return array is what you want to return. So remember, we want to return the last name that can be found on that first column. It's going to be A10 down through the last row, which is 46. So basically you are going to plug this in manually, something like this. It's a lookup value is going to be 4, and then our lookup array is going to be basically where we can find those ID numbers that are replacing in cell 4. It's going to be G10 down to G46. We have 46 rows of data. Well, we'll go down to row 46, and then the return array, we want to return the last name, which begins from A10 down to 46. As soon as we plug in the information here, it's going to give us our result. So it should give us the last name based on the ID number. Let's go ahead and plug these in. So lookup value is going to be our input cell, which is A4. It confirms that 1368 is in that cell for us for the lookup array. Well, I can find those employee IDs in the cells from G10 down to G46. There we go. Here's the array. Which grade do I want to return or range? I want to return from the last name. I don't feel like scrolling through. I'll click on the first last name. I'll press Ctrl Shift down. It will highlight all of them for me. We can find them in G10 through G46. The returning column is A10 through A46. We have one for Tammy. I'll go ahead and press OK, and there we go. So that is how XLOOKUP works. As you can see, what's more efficient than the other lookup functions that we can use, that we'll go ahead and change ID to 1054. Press enter. I'm good to go. Now some other things that we could have done, we could have named ID range if we want to. Then we could have actually named these ranges as well: last name, first name, department, and the hire date. We could do that. The other thing we could do is we can just modify our original XLOOKUP here, and we can look on to cell 4. So in the formula bar, I'm going to absolute reference A4. I'll press F4 on my keyboard. We're also going to absolute reference the ID, so G10 through G46. I'll press F4, absolute reference those as well. So now we are looking on to the ID cell 4. We'll also look on the ID range over here. So now what we can do, we can autofill over and just change the return range. We'll go ahead and press enter. Now let's see if I autofill over to the right. So we can see it's giving us the last name. Here is the first name. It's moving over the department. That's fine. For the hire date, this is incorrect. We just need to go ahead and change the return. So we are returning the values in column H, not column D. So right here I can say H10 through H46. If I press enter, we get the hire date. It's giving us the number for the hire date. I'll just go ahead and change this to the date format instead of the serial number. I'll use a short date here, and there we go. So there is our XLOOKUP. You can return fields from that record here as well. Go ahead and enter your XLOOKUP to complete our table. Give it a quick test. I'll put 1075 in here. Here's our record for Cheryl.